Hello. Today I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about van security, because I keep seeing loads of posts on the Vanlife forums on Facebook saying I've had my van nicked off the driveway. Really unfortunate, and it must be really painful and upsetting to have your van nicked. So yeah, let's try and do something about it today, shall we? So yeah, Sue done a video a little while back about female lone van life and stuff like that, which covered a little bit about security, and that's worth going to look at if you're interested in being in the van and security whilst you're in the van. But this is mainly to do with security when you're not in the van. So yeah, what can we do to stop thieves from taking your van? And I'll be really honest, if they really want it, there's little that you can do to stop them. If they're really determined, apart from you being there and catching them, and even that might not deter some thieves. So yeah, you've got to really think about how you, if you do catch someone breaking into your van, how you approach that, whether you're capable of dealing with them or whether you even want to try, or you just call the police. So we're not going to really go into that. So I'm going to talk to you about some of the ways they actually steal your van, some of the things that you can do to prevent them from stealing it. And one of the most common ways is this little box down here. Down here, right behind that little panel there, you have something called a OBD port, and that's for the mechanics and the main dealers to actually hack into your the brains of your van or car, whatever you're trying to protect. They hack into the main brains of your van and can reprogram it and do all sorts of things from that little port there. Now once you undo those two little screws, I'll see if I can put a picture up here so you can see what I'm talking about. I don't really want to show you my one because I've obviously done some stuff myself to protect that port, so I don't really want to show you what I've done. You can buy little covers, little sort of boxes to go over them, and it depends on your port, what sort of OBD port you've got, to what sort of box you'll fit. So you have to be careful in which one you buy. They're not sort of a one box fits all type thing. So they are worthwhile, and I'd say definitely should be a starting point, because that's how most vans are nicked. What all they'll do is they'll break off you. They don't need your key nowadays. They'll break a window, they're inside your van. From then on, they'll just rip off your ignition cover and use a screwdriver to turn the ignition, and then reprogram your van using that little port. So at some point you're going to need to protect it. So where would I start? My starting point for protection of my van, if I'm not in it, that is, I'm obviously going to be the biggest, well, I hope I am. Hopefully I'm going to be the biggest deterrent. So yeah, if I'm not in the van, let's talk about what I do if I'm not in it. Firstly, it's a wheel clamp. I have two of these, which are 4x4 wheel clamps. They are heavy duty, as you can see. They're reinforced. You do not want a flimsy little £10 jobby from eBay. You want something that's a lot more up to the task. They're going to go at this with an angle grinder, a battery powered angle grinder. So this is my starting point, and I've got two of these. I will place them in the most visible place. So on the roadside is normally where I would place them, so that if they do try and cut through them, they're going to be set out on the road where passing cars will see them, and that might not even be a deterrent for them. So don't think these will stop you completely. This is only something to deter the thieves. Next we have a pedal lock. There's various types of pedal locks. Again, this is really heavy duty steel and will take an angle grinder to get through. So that is my starting point. Now, right, so the reason I said I start with a wheel clamp is because it's outside the van. Before they get into the van, they've now got to disable two wheel clamps, which should be a deterrent for most people, most sort of opportunity thieves that will want to take it for a joyride or nick it for whatever reason. that should put off a lot of people, because they've now got to spend a lot of time angle grinding through. They've got to have tools to cut through it. So we're now talking sort of like the more professional motorhome thief, which I guess if your motorhome gets stolen, it's unlikely to be a kid from around the corner. It's more likely going to be a professional thief that is going to be targeting your van. So yeah, I'll start off with 2 wheel clamps. That puts them outside the van. Before they even get in, they've got to get rid of those. And that's going to take a bit of time and a bit of noise. Secondly, I've got the pedal locks. Pedal locks really useful. That should put off a lot of people. And again, it's a lot of noise, a lot of time, and a lot of angle grinding. So it wouldn't be not normal for a thief to actually bring along a spare battery for an angle grinder and spare blades. So don't think that's going to put them off, because they'll still go through those. Next off is I have an alarm. An alarm, which I think everyone should, even as basic, start off with an alarm and an immobilizer. So I recommend a Ghost 2. I don't know if you've heard of a Ghost 2. Now, a Ghost 2 works on the principle that the immobilizer, it stays hidden basically in your vehicle. It's fitted to your vehicle. This would need to be fitted by a shop, really. Bought one and fitted it yourself, it may not qualify as being fitted, because you won't have that certificate filled in and signed off by the fitter. So it needs to be fitted by a shop. They're normally about £500. I think I paid £650 for mine fitted. So yeah, I recommend something called an Auto Watch Ghost 2 is what I would say get fitted to your van. That to me is something that is insurance approved and is a very good alarm, and it works on the basic principle. Even if you've got the key and you've broken into the van and you've disabled everything else, the vehicle still will not start because it's immobilized. Everything on the car is immobilized, and you have to have a code, a sequence of pressing buttons inside your car. Now it's a bit of a pain to get into your vehicle and then start having to press 4 or 5 buttons to actually get the car to start. But it makes it a bloody good deterrent for any thief. Like I say, I've had a key to somebody's vehicle before and didn't know the code, and I couldn't get it started. So that's how good these things are. So yeah, Ghost 2 by Auto Watch is what you really want to get fitted, around between about £500 and £700, I'm guessing, to have it fitted. Next up, I'd say a tracker. Some kind of tracker. Now, I've seen a lot of people say AirTags and Apple tags, or whatever you call them. And I've seen some people say that they've had their van parked up and found Apple tags or AirTags, whatever you want to call them. They found them on their vehicle, so that the thieves are now tracking your vehicle to where you go home, where you're going to. Or if you do get a company to fit your tracker, make sure it's a reputable company. That somebody you can trust, because there are thieves that operate or have people within the company that will tell them where your tracker is fitted. I mean, there's not too many places on a van you can hide a tracker. So if you're really sort of clever with your electrics, you could hide it in some really weird and wonderful places, and that's what I'd recommend to do. All you need is either a battery powered tracker, which you'll have to take out every now and again and recharge it, or you fit it yourself to somewhere on the wiring that is permanently live. That's another option, and that's what I'd recommend as standard. Now, this isn't like extra security. This would be my go-to standard security. So with what we've got so far, we've got a wheel clamp, we've got a pedal lock, we've got an alarm, and we've got a tracker. So 4 items as a basic standing, a starting point basically. This is not your extra security really. This is your starting point. And if you haven't got that fitted, you're basically giving away your van. You're letting it be stolen from your driveway. Having it parked on the driveway is not a deterrent. They will come onto your driveway under your security lights. It's going to take them about 30 seconds to get into your van, disable what you've got, and drive it away. So given that you think you're going to get up out of bed in the night, run downstairs to your van while someone's trying to nick it and catch them, it's very unlikely. They're going to be gone before you even got your trousers back on. Now, given that most motorhomes, camper vans are worth £20,000 plus, £50,000, even more sometimes, going that little bit extra and having a pager system is worth having fitted. You can get a paging system which has a little SIM card fitted, and if the alarm goes off, it will phone you up basically and give you a phone call in the night. So they are very worthwhile and worth having fitted. That's another recommendation I'd say go for if you've got the money. It obviously takes a contract and a SIM card to run that, so there's a little bit of extra cost there, but again, you've got £50,000, probably more, sitting on your driveway. So is it worth it? I mean, it's no brainer really, isn't it? Right, so let's talk about some of the extras that you can do, which is not a starting point. You can chain the seat I'm sitting on now. It can swivel around, so you can chain it backwards. That will slow people down. That will be a bit more of a deterrent, and it's quite an easy thing to do. All you need is a padlock and chain, or a bit of a wire cable like you padlock up a bike. And if you get really sort of inventive with your padlocks and chain it where they can't cut them off, then that's even better. So yeah, padlocks around your seat, chain your seat backwards. You can also get door locks. I don't like fitting the door locks myself, because in London I've seen them rip doors off and really mangle up your doors. So I'm not really sort of too keen having door locks fitted myself. I mean, the exterior sort of chub locks. But if your van is sort of like a van like Sue's got, then maybe it's worthwhile. One of these door locks, but I don't rate it very much. The doors on these vans are really flimsy, to be honest. Cameras. I've got cameras outside my van, as you can see there. Now I'll show you these. These are really small. I don't know if you can see that. Those cameras are so small that I've actually put a little sign there so that people realise that they're fitted. But they record to a DVR, and that's another little thing. You can get some cameras. You can get some Wi-Fi cameras that will store the video to the cloud, so they are worth having, like little baby monitor type cameras. Some of those will even activate if someone walks into the van, so they are very worthwhile. And I'd call that as that's an extra bit of security. That's not like your standard. Very worthwhile, and I'd highly recommend fitting one of those. If you've got Wi-Fi to your van, even better, because that's stored in the cloud then. Another thing I'd recommend is I think you've seen that me and Sue, we have a 24/7 dash cam running, front and rear dash cam. That's well worth having, because that also deters anyone, and it also gives you pre-warning that if someone's been hanging around your van, you can have a look, see what they've been up to. Now, if you've got a decent alarm system, or half decent, it should protect your gas cupboard where your LPG is stored, and it should also protect your garage, because you probably got something in your garage. I carry a load of tools and clothes and a load of rubbish in mine, but that's just me. So yeah, if you want to break into my garage, it'll still trigger the alarm and everything else, but I've got nothing in there worth stealing. It's become my junk cupboard. Right, so if you're lucky enough to have your van on a driveway, one of those lifty up posty things, you know, those security posts, well worth having. Concrete one of those in the ground, lift it up. And I mean, a lot of it is really annoying that you've got to do all this to your van, and yeah, it's time consuming, isn't it? You come back to your van, you've got to take the wheel clamp off, you've got to take pedal locks off, you've got to deactivate things. It becomes a right pain having to do it all. But if you're going to leave your van for any length of time, then I mean, I don't fit all my pedal locks every time I get out the van. If I'm not going to be very far away, I won't fit all the pedal locks and everything else. Every time I get out the van, I activate the alarm, and the tracker is always activated, or always running, should I say. So that's two things that is always permanently there. I do have an immobilizer, Ghost 2 immobilizer, so that is another benefit, because it means just getting out the car and going into a shop, I've got a very good level of protection. Now, me and Sue both have dogs, and I've seen a lot of people say a dog is their deterrent. And yeah, if you're going to leave your dog permanently in your van, it might be all right, especially if you've got a rather big, vicious dog. My alarm is quite a good alarm. I can activate it and put it on a secondary mode so that even if I'm in the van, it will work. Everything else, the van is immobilized. The dog, or me, in fact, I could be sitting in here with the alarm activated, running, and it will protect everything on the outside of the van, the cupboards and the van from starting, and I could actually be in here asleep. So modern alarms moved on a long way from the old days of the Moss alarm that used to go off every night. So things have really changed since then. I wonder do you remember the Moss alarms? They used to go off every bloody night. They used to drive me nuts. Me and my brother had them. They were a fairly common alarm back in the day, but they were a right pain in the arse. If some of you guys have got some ideas that you want to share, leave them in the comments below. It's always nice to hear from you guys, what you guys do, what you've got as extra security, and what you consider is a basic security. So yeah, in the comments below, please. And thanks for watching, and hopefully it helps some of you out and convince some of you guys to go and get some better security on your vans, and we won't keep hearing about stolen vans. So I hope that's been of help for you.